Abdeslam has been charged with terrorism offenses in Belgium a day after he was seized in a dramatic raid. Abdeslam will fight extradition to France, but has been cooperating with police, his lawyer says. The Paris attacks in November left 130 people dead and dozens injured. The so-called Islamic State IS group said it was behind the bombings and shootings. Abdeslam is charged with participation in terrorist murder and the activities of a terrorist group, Belgium's Federal Prosecutor's Office says. Paris Prosecutor Francois Molins told a news conference, Salah Abdelslam today during questioning by investigators affirmed that, and I quoted, he wanted to blow himself up at the Stade de France and that he had backed down. Abdeslam's assertions should be treated with caution, he added. The 26-year-old French national born in Belgium is in custody following his arrest in Brussels on Friday after 4 months on the run. Investigators hope Abdeslam, who was shot in the leg during his arrest, will reveal more information about the IS network behind the Paris attacks, its financing and plans. Abdeslam is believed to have fled shortly after the attacks, returning to the Molenbeek district of Brussels. So, the reason why I read this is so everyone knows that this is what this video is about. There's no contesting that. I have more inside information about how these things work than most people because I have done interviews with people who were recruited for psych ops by the government, whose stories I've verified. I myself, was somebody who has been, very aware of their activities because the CIA and the FBI, along with military intelligence, over the past couple years, they stopped doing it about maybe 4 plus months ago. They tried to recruit me for ISIS, okay? So other people might think that this is some kind of a theory. I know for a fact because right there out of I want to say Quantico, Langley or one of these places, I'll put in the comments. Okay, it's been a while. Basically, a man who looks Semitic, working for the intelligence agencies, tried to recruit me in a very roundabout way. He didn't say, I want you to join ISIS and meet this guy, but he started guiding me along radical ideology, and other people said, at least one person flat out said, you should try to join ISIS, and even if you are caught, you're still doing your duty as a good Muslim. So I know firsthand how it works because there was a point when I was going to convert to Islam, and my beard is a testament to that because I liked the way the beard looked on me and I decided to keep it. But when I first started growing it out, the longest it ever has been in my entire life was because I was going to convert to Islam and be an Islamist. Not a terrorist, but a real jihadist that is a freedom fighter fighting for the people against oppression, not killing innocent people, but killing those aggressors that turn Muslims against each other, the CIA, the FBI, what have you. So I know this beyond any doubt. Also, when I was younger, I was a gang member. I hung around with Crips and different Hispanic gang members. I've been in institutions with different Hispanic gang members, reform schools, psych wards, because of my political activity. So when you look up psychiatric abuse or the political abuse of psychiatry, and you couple that with the way I present my story, it is very obvious that I am a political dissident who was targeted by psychiatry as thousands and thousands of political dissidents all over the world are. The way America treats its dissenters is very scientific. And I have several manuals that prove this beyond any doubt. They're doing this by the book, okay? They're recruiting by the book auxiliary groups, guerrilla groups, different proxy groups to aid them in their overthrow of foreign governments. The U.S. Army Handbook, U.S. Army Guerrilla Warfare Handbook talks about psychological operations, demolition, okay? Communication and all these different things, and these are all aspects of how to overthrow a government, how to have a proxy group in a foreign nation overthrow the government. You see, Western culture is about feminism, atheism, or secularism, homosexuality, LGBT, fake control Christianity. It's a very imperialistic government perspective of the world and the philosophies therein. Okay, they're concerned with the internal organization of America as well as the external organization of all America's allies and proxy military units. Okay, including Al-Qaeda. I know for a fact that these things are the case. And the difference between me and a lot of these people in the military is a lot of them are part of the psychological operations unit of the Army. The Navy has Navy intelligence, and they're all mentioned in I was actually reading about them recently in the appendix section of this handbook. Okay, the Army Special Operations Forces Unconventional Warfare. And this is by the book. Okay, this is from 2008. They're doing things by the book in a very updated version of this book that may never be released. Okay, which talks about how to carefully work with terrorists to get them to overthrow people such as Gaddafi and Assad. It's very interesting that not only do these people do these things, but they also have handbooks that they follow. They are doing this by the book. Somebody came up with the plan, and it ended up being a whole book, and then they started doing it by the book and giving orders based upon the blueprint for guerrilla warfare and unconventional warfare by the books. All right? So gangs in America, for example, are nothing more than proxy units of the military-industrial complex. When you look back at, say, Al Capone, it's been like this for a long, long time. You look back at Sam Giancana saying that the CIA and the mafia are two sides of the same coin. You look at Al Capone in the 20s and 30s when they had the Tommy guns, right? Shooting down people, 20s, 30s, 40s, right? Where did they get them? They got them from the military-industrial complex. And of course, there was Freemasons involved, and they were building the rooms in places. And when you look at San Francisco, one of the main headquarters for the Nuestra family, or Norteños, you have San Francisco, San Jose, and Salinas. These are pretty much the three main headquarters of the Nuestra family. And then you have Sacramento and Tracy and so on and so forth. Okay, that is also where the Grand Lodge of Freemasonry in California is. It's also where the main FBI office is. Okay, I believe the Russian embassy is there as well. Also where the main headquarters for the feminist movements, the homosexual movements, and the other main headquarters is in Israel, Tel Aviv. Main headquarters for feminism and homosexuality. So what you're looking at here, okay, is Abdeslam is a member of a proxy unit for a bunch of fairy fucking homosexuals. A bunch of bearded, baby-killing fucking scum feminists, feminazis. A bunch of Zionazi trash. Okay? And everything that they're pushing, you know them by the works, as the Bible says. Everything that they're pushing is right there. You know, their gay agenda. Gang members are some of the gayest motherfuckers on the planet. Okay, look at the prison system. Bunch of homos. Okay, they're trying to blur the line between a big, strong macho man and a big, strong homosexual, pedophile, fucking prison rapist. You know? And you'll see a lot of these gang member women acting like men, talking like men, dressing like men. You know, they're pushing this gay agenda, this feminist agenda, this eugenic agenda. Gang members have a certain relationship with the pharmaceutical industry. Some of them are former military. They work in the psych ward as the muscle, the people who restrain people when they get injected with drugs. I know this for a fact. I've been researching this for 20 years. I hung out with gang members for years and years. I was, you know, like I said before, they try to recruit me. I've been in their reform schools, which are basically behavior modification centers on record. And the reform schools I was in, Ascent in situ, was shut down for human rights violations. Google Ascent Wilderness Program, Google the CEDU schools, Boulder Creek, San Bernardino, etc. Now, so when you look at this thing, and Pavlov's fucking dog and operant conditioning, it is by the book. There is nothing conspiratorial about this, you know, that isn't in a book. Flat out. Isn't in a very commonly recognized book. A book that has sold thousands and tens of thousands of copies. Okay, this is what they do on record. On record, nothing crazy about it. You don't have to go to some crazy conspiracy theory site to see this stuff. This is how it works. Period. Of course, they'll put out disinformation to try to stigmatize anyone who would talk about these things. But I'm a brain surgeon's son. I'm a software engineer. Okay, I'm a very educated gentleman who's been doing my own research for 20 years, and I have a college degree. So, I understand programming. I understand cycles. I understand the way they present you with options. And they want you to choose an option. And if that option does not allow you to do a certain move, then it doesn't compute. Okay? It is a corporate fascist sort of nation. A lot of people see the merger of big business and the government and they automatically think communism. They see a certain element of socialism and they think communism. But look up what the Nazis actually believed. It was National Socialism. What you're seeing is the Hegelian principle meeting between the two of fascism and communism. Okay? So there is a strong emphasis on public programs and charity, but when you truly look at how it really works, the big money and not the skilled experts are in charge. And even in communism, where you have a meritocracy or technocracy, the experts, are really perceived experts, a bunch of Ivy League butt buddies, a bunch of homos in the Berzelius Society, named after a Swedish, I believe, chemist, which is where you get pharmacology, drugs. It was chemists and pharmacologists that came up with these drugs. LSD. Going back, look back at Frank Olson and Sidney Gottlieb. These are chemists running psych ops with psychologists and psychiatrists and psychological warfare. So you're looking at military psychology as well. In case you people haven't been paying attention, to put things in a very simple way, a bunch of satanic homosexuals give orders to gang members who end up being a bunch of butt pluggers for the New World Order. You have a lot of feminists and eugenicists and atheist godless heathens because the Bible makes the rich people look like the bitches they are. The Bible speaks of feminists and homosexuals as the abominations they are. They are spiritual bottom feeders. No rational mind could possibly see it any other way. Okay? So a bunch of sissies and gangs. A bunch of Italian men kissing each other on the fucking lips in organized crime. Okay? A bunch of queers in fucking Hollywood. A bunch of Anderson Cooper type homosexuals in the media. What are they doing? They are collaborating by the book. What does psychological operations consist of? Well, let's go to page 169 of their handbook, shall we? In the few minutes I have left, let's cover this and wrap this up. Unconventional warfare involves ideological, religious, political, and social factors which promote intense emotional partisanship. Resistance organizations tend to attract personnel who accept violent change as a means of social action. They are motivated by hope for change, but the fluid nature of resistance activity, the alternate periods of isolation and combat, the surreptitious life makes resistance personnel particularly susceptible to propaganda effects. It goes on to talk about the peace or war units, the ideological and political factors. And of course, when they talk about ISIS and these groups, they talk about their ideologies, their quote-unquote terrorist ideologies that we are propagating. You think these guys came out of a cave somewhere and learned how to brainwash people? The CIA has been doing that for years and years. They are the experts. If there is any powerful guerrilla sort of army on the planet that is the most powerful, you better believe the CIA or Russian intelligence, in this case the CIA, are the ones that created them, not the FSB, the CIA, and the bitch-ass MI motherfuckers, MI6, MI4, all those fucking sissies. They're the ones, along with the Mossad. On record, these are the people that condition people. They tried to recruit me. I was in their fucking reform school. I was in their boot camp. I've been in their institutions. I've hung out with the products of their system, the gang members. Thank you.